Is it working? Can you see my screen?
No, not yet. Hello? No. Got frozen.
Yes, I'm okay. It all got frozen.
You have a shock for this moment?
No, it all freezed. Okay, let me restart the browser because I don't know which is the problem here. Sorry.
This is where we have the dancing cat go across the screen. And great.
Oh, the browser of Nicolas go
Okay,
down.
so
So yeah, if we can wait, we can wait him for 2 minutes.
something is happening. The screen it's slow, huh? Is that it?
Yeah.
Screen sharing can take a while when there's latency. Yes. So there.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. I had to switch to my phone. My laptop wasn't working.
Oh, well, welcome.
Oh,
I'm glad
thanks.
at least something afforded you the entry. Now we can hear you. You can hear us. And yes, Nico has reloaded and will share his screen.
Hello, I'm back. Sorry for the delay.
Yes, we can
Now
hear
I
you.
will try. Yeah, I will try again to share my screen.
Oh, this looks like a technical difficulty day for a few of us. Abraham had to reload. Last week was my week, so I'm having a good time now.
Okay.
And Jim had to use his phone because he could get video but not audio.
Okay.
I was
will
hearing
try.
your audio. The microphone wouldn't work. Maybe
Right.
it's because I tried to shut it down and I did too good of a job.
Oh, now it works. Can you see Nicolas' screen?
Okay, can you see the screen?
Not yet.
Okay. Please
Yes,
tell
I
me.
can see the screen.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Mickey?
Someone can. No, I can't, but I'll reload. It's probably me.
Yeah, I can see it. If not, maybe try clicking on Nico.
Oh,
Yes, I shall try that because I'm trying to record. Let's see if we can. Okay, so no, I do not see your screen.
Any? No?
Are you sharing it?
Okay. Yes, I'm
Yes.
sharing it.
Okay.
Yes,
I will
it's
try reloading.
Can you see this?
Yeah, it works.
Okay.
Yes, and everything.
Someone else? Can you see my screen?
I can see it.
Oh, great. Well. So we can wait for Mickey and we can start.
Thank you very much. I can see your screen now. It was a momentary outage. Anyone else, if you have difficulties, Jitsi is Sometimes if you reload the window or reload your browser, it comes back. So here we are. And Nicolas Dimarco will take us through the second half of cooperating, or a second part. It can go
Yes.
on and on, I'm sure. Thank you,
Okay.
Nicholas.
Okay. No, thank you. Well, the idea of talking today was like telling you this second part of the fit talk. In the first part, I told you what we were doing with Factic and Fit, but I got this idea. Well, I get with this idea that I just told you the pretty things about intercooperation. So I wanted to tell you a little bit more. Maybe tell you the problems that we had like with the intercooperation, and maybe think all together about solutions to these problems. So, well, I will start. First of all, one of the last show and tells, I remember that someone, I don't remember who, I think was Patcon or Abraham, started to list the new words that he was learning during this show and tell. And I remember that he said, well, one new word, intercooperation. Well, so I think that is pretty necessary to talk about what intercooperation is. To share one definition. If you don't agree, we can like discuss about this definition, but basically is sharing a project or delegating it to another cooperative following cooperative principles. I think that last sentence is really important for us. Well, I will tell you about fit in a nutshell because I have already told you about the fit. But if you, just in case you haven't seen the last talk, I will tell you that the fit is a space inside FACTIC, that is our federation, that began a few years ago as a result of the need to keep in touch between co-ops. As the time went by, the idea of sharing projects emerged, helping to solve scalability issues in the cooperatives. Because it's pretty common that if we are trying to reach a big project, maybe we will need more developers than we have, and well, intercooperation was the solution to this problem. And nowadays, it is the channel through which we work in collaboration and share projects. Our values. Well, co-ops are not or sourcing. I think, this is really important. It's definitely not a space for hiring resources. Instead, it's a space dedicated to build based on cooperation. And the other main value, is non-competition. We think that fit helps cooperatives to avoid competing with each other. Uh, another value would be transparency, and I want to talk about this later. But now we can say that when we talk about transparency as a way of interaction, we refer to the agreements with the clients involved and also to the communication of the problems that may appear during the project. And also, we want to say that we value the talks in a sincere and open way, keeping in mind that we are all working to get good projects that allow the development of our cooperatives. It is also really important to be sure that we all share the same goal by doing this. I will tell you a little bit about our interaction, our way of interaction. We have one new tool to share with you. I have already told you that we use a mailing list. We use a Mattermost specific channel, and we also hold monthly meetings. Something new that emerged this last month is CRM. It's a tool for commercial management used to track commercial opportunities that are shared through the feed. This is really important because a lot of projects they started appearing, and maybe you share this opportunity in the channel, and then another cooperative shares another opportunity in the channel, and no one like keep the track of these opportunities, and then no one answers this potential client, for example, or maybe we couldn't realize which technologies were not handled by the group, or which technologies are the most required by clients, for example. So this is a lot of information that we were missing, just because we didn't have a tool to enter all this data and then analyze it. So we have started using this CRM. Then I can tell you this experience, how it went. And well, I also wanted to tell you about the advantages of intercooperation. Now that we have defined what intercooperation is, I think that is a good thing of talking about advantages. Here I tried to list all the things that I think that they are positive about intercooperation. Then after this talk, we can discuss if you think there are more than this one. But I could say that we help strengthen the other cooperatives. We exercise cooperation. Cooperation is not something that you start practicing and you will know all the rules. You have to learn how to cooperate with other cooperative, because other cooperatives have other cultures, and you have to understand how the proper way to talk with our cooperative in order to really cooperate with our cooperative. By intercooperating, we increase the scale of our cooperative, because we can count more developers than our cooperative has. And also we generate friendly relations between cooperatives. I think this is a really good point, because we start working with other cooperative partners, and we end having more friends. And other things that I thought about was that we improve the visibility of the sector. I mean, if here I would start saying that, well, we are a cooperative that we just developed some projects, maybe I wouldn't caught your attention. But when I told you that we had the fit, and that we really intercooperate, and that we share projects, and that also we work to have more scale in the cooperative, and that we want to work with our cooperatives, it's like I got your attention, and you say, oh, this is pretty cool, let's see what he's saying. By increasing the workflow, we encourage the freelancers to join the cooperative. Well, if we were talking in for example, I don't know, The Walking Dead, I would say that we turn them into cooperators, something like that. We expand the development capacity from the social economy, being able to create technology with values. This is really important, because we just don't want to create technology, we also want to build it based on values, the cooperative's values. And also we generate a network that may keep your cooperative safe from any external problem or internal problem. You are building a network that maybe nowadays you are helping another cooperative, but you don't know what could happen tomorrow. Maybe the other cooperative could help you if you have a problem. Something similar to this happened a few times. Then we can discuss it, and maybe I can tell you some cases about this. Well, I also want to tell you about known issues and possible approaches to these issues. This is the dark side of the intercooperation, maybe. This is the part that I didn't tell you last time, but I think they are good problems to solve. I think they are not as big problems as you may think. As a brief introduction, I could say that although intercooperation has many good things, not all the experiences were positive, at least not at the beginning. Well, this is a consequence that, like all human interaction, it can bring conflict. Another good thing to say is that the most important thing is what we do with the problems that appears and how we learn from that experience. I will start like telling you. I think there are 3 or 4 issues that we found, and we want to discuss them. The first one is the availability to help managing the group. The problem that we detect that is the poor participation, at least at the beginning of the group or of the fit, poor participation of to maintain the group. For instance, it could happen, or it did happen, that uh, maybe the cooperatives participated when an opportunity appeared, but they didn't participate the whole month, like maintaining the group or bringing new opportunities, or just like spending some time thinking about how to improve the dynamic of the group. A good approach to this that we found was that uh, say that the participation in all fit meetings is the minimum condition to be able to apply to projects that are shared in a group. It's like if you want to take one opportunity, at least come and participate in all meetings. This was a basic rule that helped a lot of cooperatives to be able to participate. And nowadays, every time we have a fit meeting, we have a lot of cooperative participating. Another issue that we found was low development performance. It could happen that maybe in a shared project, a team or a developer, they don't work as expected. Uh, Maybe because of technical problem, or maybe just for an internal problem of the cooperative. You never know. But a good approach to this, um, and if we will refer to values and transparency values, we use transparency. As I told you, transparency is a good way to interact with other cooperative members. If you have a problem, you have to talk about this problem as soon as possible. If you have a problem, a technical problem, you should ask for help. And if you have a problem with the client, you should talk with the other cooperative in order to be 2 or 3 cooperatives thinking about the problems and the solutions, and like taking decisions as the projects goes by. Another issue that we found were maybe if you start like in the project, it's pretty common at least here, if that you may have difficulties to or delays in payments. The specific problem is that the project starts having difficulties to be paid, or the customer does not pay the agreed time. A good approach to this is that thinking about the values that I told you at the beginning, is that we are not replicating a scheme of outsourcing. So cooperatives work in solidarity. So if you enter the project, for example, let's think about this. Another cooperative brings to the space a new opportunity. Ficus, in this case, would probably say, okay, we want to participate in this project. But after starting the project, we should like sit and talk a little bit and discuss about this, um, and talk about these things. For example, what could happen if the client they don't pay the whole amount in estimated time? Well, we can all both wait. No, maybe I could have a problem by waiting because I need this amount of money. Well, you can, I don't know, for example, get paid first, then I could get paid. These are like little things that they must be uh, talked after beginning a project. And as maybe you could think, well, these are like very simple things, but trust me, if you don't talk about these things, they would like create problems between cooperatives.
So I have a
Uh,
question on issue 3.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
I have a question on issue 3.
Yeah, yeah.
If you go back to it, sorry,
No,
um,
no problem. Yeah.
uh, so you're talking about payments. Uh, I'm still looking at issue 4 for some reason on the screen, but there we go. The question I have here is when you bring in a new cooperative, uh, you're also trying to make sure that this is an actual paying client. So if you said work in solidarity, is that meaning that if the new cooperative you bring in, if they're suddenly not getting paid regularly, there's issues that you're also going to uh, talk about that openly with them and go back to the client saying, why are you not paying the people we're bringing in? Or like, well, what does that mean? I don't understand what you're
Okay. Yes, it's a good question. Yes. What I'm trying to say by saying this is that, for example, I will tell you a specific case that happened to us. Is that another cooperative brought to the space an opportunity, and we said, well, we can start working with you. Okay, we started working without talking about this thing, and then the client stopped paying, and we kept working, because we thought, well, maybe it's a very common issue with this client, for example, and they I don't know, they have little delays by paying. We kept working, and then the client stopped paying and said that they didn't have enough money to continue with the project, and the project ended. But we had already worked like 1 month without getting paid. So this
saying.
was a problem. And then we talked with the cooperative, and they say, we don't have the money to pay you because they have done the same with us. We had two developers working for this client, and they didn't pay us also. So this was a problem because we never talked at the beginning that if this thing happened, this cooperative, they wouldn't pay by the client to us, So if we knew this from the beginning, we would accept the project also. But it's a good thing to know that you are running with these risks. You are like sharing the risks with the cooperative, and it's not that it's a client from the cooperative that brought the opportunity and they will pay you whatever happens with the client. I
Because
don't
you've
know
been
if
clear
I
that the
yeah.
customer pays each cooperative individually. What you're saying is the thing y'all are wanting to leverage that you have learned to leverage is as you're bringing in another cooperative, or as another cooperative is bringing you in, that you have the upfront discussion about how the payments have been. So if they're already late in paying one cooperative, y'all are talking about that early on as part of your
Yes.
discussions. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay, I
You
can
have
understand
to
what you're.
talk about how the payments will be done and who covers these delays or these specific cases in which maybe the client they stop paying.
I'd like to
Wow.
offer how Agaric deals with this just quickly. Agaric takes payments on retainer, and we get paid in advance of any work. And this has prevented this from happening in our cooperative. So we have a retainer, and when it gets down to a certain level, we send a new retainer to the client so that we always have a cushion. And that's how we do it.
Great. Yes, we try to do the same, but here sometimes happens that you can do it. Maybe because the starting date of the project arrives and the client they didn't pay you the whole amount, or maybe a minimum amount, but something at least. And you have to start the project because you have a deadline and you didn't get paid. So then you have like this issue that someone of the cooperative has to work to get paid for this project. As the project started, no, it already started, but you didn't get paid. Well, I don't know if I was clear.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very good. I just to me, yeah, please go. Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you. Well, I can continue. Um, Well, the last issue that we detected is when there are estimation errors. The main problem here was that, or maybe that the project is estimated by the cooperative that brings the opportunity to the space, but this project has estimation errors, which causes the project to be delayed and its value to decrease. Well, a good approach to this is pretty similar to the other issue, that we think that it's essential that a cooperative that joins another cooperative to work on a fixed price project reviews the estimate to see if they agree or not with the estimation. If you are a cooperative that is joining another cooperative to work in a fixed price project, it's essential to review the estimation. If you agree to participate, having reviewed the estimate, then you are on an equal footing to assume the risk of a bad estimation. This is what we think. I don't know if you agree, but it
Well,
happened also. Yeah.
this is also very similar to even inside of a corporate culture. If you have one agile team of developers who are working stuff, and then they need to hand work off to another agile team, the next agile
Yeah.
team can't just take wholesale all the estimations of the previous team. They have a different set of people, different skill set, and it's not a money issue. It's just a because it's not the same corporation. It's more of a capacity planning. So that's strikes me very common of having to go back and re-estimate and require assumptions and all the different things. So this makes total sense to me that y'all would have to do this.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I agree. And also, well, I think that these cases, they happen because maybe you want to take the project, you want to finish this project, for example, or you want to make this intercooperation real, and you want to start working with our cooperative, and maybe you don't estimate well, and then the problems may appear. So we think that it's better to have a good estimation, to stop and talk before intercooperation starts about these issues, and this will avoid future problems. Well, if you have any questions, I had another thing that I would like to discuss, but I didn't know how many time I could have. So if you think that there is enough time, I have another topic to talk about. I don't know. What do you think?
There's plenty of time. It is half an hour. Anyone who needs to go, please feel free to, but we're free to stay here as long as you like.
Okay, because I had an extra an extra title
There is a
here.
question in the chat.
Okay, question in the chat.
Yes, a question in the chat.
Okay. Yes, we have monthly meetings. Uh, we all communicate on a daily basis through this Mattermost channel, but we hold one per month, one meeting per month, and it's a virtual meeting because there are cooperatives in the whole country, and they have to be virtual, you know. So using something like Jitsi or another platform, we meet once a month. And we have like two or three coordinators of the space that they are always remembering other cooperatives, or maybe like taking minutes, and well, trying to maintain the group. Sorry, the question was about the feed meetings. How often are they, and what are the formats?
I'm sorry. How often do y'all meet on it?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
How often? I'm still curious
How
about it.
often? Once per month.
Once per month, but
Yes.
it's not just the technology worker co-ops. Is it broader than that, or is it only development technology worker co-ops?
They are only development software cooperatives. They are only the cooperatives from the federation. that
Okay,
participate in this smaller space inside the federation that is called FIT.
sure.
And
Mhm.
what we talk about, well, we talk about the opportunities that arise in the space. We talk about for example, the availability of the cooperatives. We talk about if, for example, maybe one cooperative is they have an issue with an estimate or trying to, I don't know, close a deal or something like that. Or maybe we talk about trainings, how to train ourselves in a specific technology, for example. We talk about these things that they are all related to the work and the technology and the opportunities that may appear to work together. Well, I also wanted to tell you one more thing that is something that we saw that by talking with other cooperatives in other parts of the world, and we saw that it's pretty common that the cooperatives they work with freelancers, and they work with the freelance with these freelancers in the same way that we work with other cooperatives to intercooperate. They try to find a scale by working with other cooperatives to increase the amounts of projects that they can develop. Well, we wanted to discuss this and maybe try to think with you the pros and cons or the advantages or disadvantages of working or trying to scale working with other cooperatives or working with freelancers. If you are interested or if you think we have time, we can talk about these advantages and disadvantages of working with freelancers. What do you think?
We can. I'm all for jumping in, but there actually is a question in the chat again.
Ah, okay. Let me see who is asking. Greg, how do you split revenue? Everyone logs hours, or do you put a price or milestone? Okay, it's a good question. We have two different types of projects. You can have the fixed price project, and then you have the other one that in which you get paid every month by the hours that you spent in the project. If you are working in a fixed price project, you would get paid according to the amount of developers that are working in the team, and it's a fixed price that you have already talked with the customer or with the cooperative. Uh, if you are working in the other type of project, not the fixed price one, you would probably log hours and then you get paid according to the amount of hours that you have been working during the month. These are two types of projects. They are different.
Which one do you do more of?
Yeah. Well, another good question. Thank you. Here in Argentina, it's pretty common to work in a fixed price project just because they are not used to work in the other kind of project. I think that the main problem here is that, for example, if you are running, I don't know, a system area in an in an organization. I mean inside an organization, and for example you are, I don't know, the chief of development of uh, I don't know, one organization. You should probably want to know how much money does this new development would take. No, so they insist on having this fixed price amount or project. This is pretty common here. We think that it's not a good way to work because it's pretty common that they ask for you for a lot of features, but they are not like well defined. And then as the project starts, they would like add more definitions to the features, and then it's really difficult to make a good estimate. So you are always dealing with the project instead of with the project owner, for example, or with the customer instead of development. So that's a big problem of fixed price projects here in Argentina. The other type of projects that we do, the other ones that they are not fixed price projects, we do them for working with other companies, for example, in Canada, in the United States, or maybe in the UK. Uh, they are like more used to work in other kind of projects.
There's a
We feel
question in the chat about how do people get paid? How does
Yeah.
that work? How do you split the money with people?
okay. Yes, and I think that the answer to that would be that uh, we split the money yes, in order to how much hours we work in the project. We estimate the project, and if we are working a fixed price project and we are sharing it within our cooperative, we probably would estimate how many hours would it take us to develop features, which cooperatives develops which feature, and then you get paid by the amount of money that you invested on developing that features. And that's the way we split the money. And well, if uh, according to this, you have to like think about the what what is the decision you took with the other cooperative. For example, one cooperative could like treat with the client and make one invoice, and the client they don't know that you are working, that two cooperatives are working the same project, for example. Or maybe you could be transparent with your client. It depends of the trust that you have with the client, and if the client understand this concept of intercooperation, and then maybe the client would pay both cooperatives in a separate way. Yes, Patcon. Yes, that's one of the cases. Maybe one cooperative owns the relationship with the client and then pays to the other cooperatives. Well, that's one case. The other case is that you explain the, to the customer what intercooperation is, and that you are working with other cooperatives because you don't have enough developers to develop this project, and then the customer will probably want to talk with the other cooperative also, and you start like a shared relationship with the customer. Then the customer is not just from your cooperative, but also is from the other cooperative also. That is more like it's more common to us to do that.
Great. So usually one co-op owns the relationship with the client and pays the other co-ops as needed, as their contractors, and that seems to work.
Yes,
No,
that
no,
is
I thought you were saying the opposite. I thought you were saying
no. That is
the
yeah. Sorry, Aaron. Yes, that is pretty common, but we like more the other type of relationship with the clients because the for example, if you are working in a project for I don't know 2 years in the same project that it happens to us, maybe then the relationship with the client is not just yours. You know, the other cooperative, they may have, for example, 3 developers working for the client. So it's we think it's better that they talk with the client directly, but just like managing us as a whole. You know, if you talk about I don't know raising your rate, well, we should probably first all the cooperatives involved in the project if we want to raise the rate or not. I don't know if I was clear, if you understood me.
Yes. I got that.
Okay, but I think it's a good like resume if we say that it depends on the project and it depends on the customer and what did you talk with the other cooperative with this the relationship with the other cooperative and with the customer. Okay, so if we have enough time, I think it will take us 5 more minutes. I want to tell you about disadvantages and disadvantages that I have seen. Well, first of all, when discussing this issue, I want to be clear that I'm not the owner of the truth. Sorry, I'm hearing myself. I don't know who is not muted. Thank you. I don't know who was it. So I'm only talking from my experience and what I saw from the experience of other cooperatives. From what I learned, working with freelancers can have two possible goals. One is to establish relationships with developers and then propose to them to join the cooperative. The other one is to expand development capacity without having to add members to the cooperative. These are the two main goals that I saw. Then Mickey, please, if you have more than these ones, you could tell to us because as we don't work with freelancers, maybe I'm just missing one case. Well, if we think that we do it to establish relationships with developers, a possible problem in this that we have seen in other cooperatives, not from here, but for example from the UK, is that freelancers get used to enjoying the benefits of having constant work, without having to deal with the labor involved in maintaining the cooperative. This was a pretty common problem that they had, uh, and they didn't know how to solve this because they needed more partners to maintain and to manage the cooperative, but they were few partners and a lot of freelancers working with the cooperative. The other one is to establish relationships with developers without like entering them to the cooperative as partners. A positive thing here is that maybe it reduces the barriers to the entry of members. In our case, for example, by not relating previously with the aspiring members, we don't really get to know them before entering the COP. So this is a problem sometimes because they enter the COP, they start in like being in a trial mode, but this trial period is 3 months, for example, and in 3 months you don't get to know the other aspirant member well. So this is an issue that we have in our way to incorporate new members. And if we think about the other goal of working with freelancers, that is to expand development capacity without entering them as new partners, a possible problem that I detect from this is that if we compare it with our model, the freelancers contribute development capacity, but they cannot enjoy the stability that the cooperative offers. For example, in our case, we have a fixed amount per month that we charge even if we take vacations, we get sick, or we need license. These are all um, good things of the cooperative that makes our life more stable. And if you work as a freelancer but you are not a partner of the cooperative, you won't enjoy of these things. And well, I couldn't think more about this. I just wanted to discuss with you, and also I want to hear something from Mickey because I understand that you are used to work with freelancers, and I don't know if you agree with all these things or you don't agree or you want to add something.
Yes, it's very familiar. Agaric does work with consultants and that are freelancers. Some of them are wanting to be part of a cooperative or wanting to be part of Agaric, but Agaric wants to stay small. So sometimes we encourage freelancers to start their own cooperative and figure out a niche or something that is their specialty to start their cooperative around. Like sometimes they have different skills than Agaric has. So we encourage them to go with what they feel comfortable with when starting a cooperative. And I understand not everyone wants to start a cooperative because it is a lot of work. And if you don't have the right people and the right amount of people, it can really go sour. So you have to make sure that the commitment is there from the people, from the freelancer, and also establish if the commitment is not there and they prefer to just remain a freelancer, and that is good too. Yeah, we did realize in Agaric at one point that some of the freelancers were being paid more than us. And we realized that's an issue and it needs to be discussed with the freelancer in a very transparent way, so that the cooperative does not suffer from this relationship. And what we realized is, well, a freelancer is not having the comfort to realize they have a cooperative to fall back on in lean times. And that is something that it's like insurance in a way. When you're in a cooperative and you have downtime, like you're sick or you need to travel to a conference, you have partners that will have your back and the work will get done. When you are a freelancer, you are alone and you can lose your client if you are sick for a few days, or strain the relationship at least. So there's a lot of downsides to being a freelancer and a lot of upsides. So we take it individually, case by case, and have a discussion with the person as to what are their goals, what is their ultimate goal, what would they like to do. And maybe it's something we had never even thought of. They just want to, they're floating around until they find something that they really feel a connection with and want to join. And they also realize that Agaric does not want to have 300 people in it as a cooperative. We have thought about how large we want to be, and we're very transparent with that about with freelancers when they start working with us, because it's just important to keep someone very on top of what your ideals and goals are. You can't have someone working with you thinking that, oh, I'm going to be a member, they're going to let me in as soon as I finish this project, when that is not the case. So we talk with people often about their goals because, as you know, we're people and goals change. You may have come into this as a freelancer and then feel like, oh my God, I really don't want to be a freelancer. I want to join this cooperative. And then you find out, well, we're not really looking for members, but we can help you and guide you in starting your own cooperative if you're really serious about it. And then we put those people together because that conversation may happen at different times with different people. So it's kind of like playing chess, and you remember, oh, okay, all of those people, those 3 people were interested in starting a cooperative. Let me put them together with Jim or with Sarah. And we help facilitate those discussions too.
How many cooperatives have you actually on?
I have no idea. I don't really keep track. It's kind of like a fluid thing. We've had people talking together about starting a business services co-op. The talks kind of fell apart because it really needs someone to be the lead in starting things. I really don't have the time to invest in doing all of the calling of meetings and contacting everyone, making sure there's an agenda for the meeting, emailing everyone before and after the meeting. There is a lot of work to getting even to getting a chat started on a topic, even if everyone is totally interested in it. You seem to have to do a lot of cat herding, where you're constantly in touch with people, making sure they're still interested in going forward. So I'd say at the basis of this problem and all of the other issues, communication. Communication is the only thing that can help with this. You have to be constantly knowing or finding out where people are at today, not yesterday, not an hour ago. It's very fluid, and the more you work with a freelancer, the more you know their goals, and you can help shepherd them into where they want to be, or at least into conversations they want to be in. So there's no cure-all or fix-all, and I don't know. We learn it as we go.
Thank you. Yeah, you explained it like brilliant in a brilliant way, because I didn't. I wanted to say something similar, but I didn't find the words for that. Yes, I think that
Well,
communication is
I used
essential.
I used telepathy to get your message, and I just spoke it. That's all.
Thank you.
It was yours.
Creative Commons.
Wow.
Well, I don't know if the talk was clear, if you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, like making it.
Yes.
Thank you for hearing. And if you think that it could be improved, just say me and say me something, and I will improve it.
How do we get in touch with you?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Can you put a link in the chat for how we can get in touch with you?
Yes,
Yes, your contact information in the chat.
sure.
Or do we
Yes,
have
I think. Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't have a notepad today, but we did record this, and hopefully I can figure out how to share that.
hackmd.io is in there.
Great.
Someone's been taking notes.
Yeah, we took notes. I can send the link to you, Nikki and Nico.
Thanks, Nico.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Nico. That was really great to hear. Yeah, at Agaric, we've started working with one other agency, and it's been really good so far. And we're about to start another project with another co-op. So it's good to hear. I think a lot of it comes down to what you were talking about, like us just keeping the solidarity approach in mind. But it's also helpful to hear the nuts and bolts of how you actually, the process, the formal process. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and also it reduces to what Mickey said also. It's all about communication. If you start sharing a project with other cooperative, a lot of things could be solved before they like creates a problem. And for example, I think all of the issues that I have told you about, they get solved by communication. And if you
Yeah.
talk with these things, specific things after starting in an intercooperation or sharing a project, it would be like more healthy relationship with our cooperative. That's the main goal that we want.
Definitely.
Yes, I find that sometimes freelancers are not used to having all the open channels of communication. They are used to being behind a curtain or something and just given work. Here's your work. That's all. We don't need to talk unless you have questions about the work. Um, so the deep communication brings you closer to knowing someone's goals, and therefore you could have them connect with someone that they are aligned with, instead of just taking on a project just for the money and just, because they need it right now. We're interested in solving long-term challenges, not just giving you work right now. That's kind of a hard thing to get through to people. They're so used to the being disconnected from the humanity, the company, the process, all the methods that are going on behind it. They're just getting the work. So that is important. Always talking and sharing. So it looks like we lost Nico for a minute.
No, but I'm here. I was
Connectivity
hearing you, but
issues.
I
Did anyone else have any questions or comments on today's presentation? I thought it was really helpful. And it's just a start. I'd like to have more deeper conversations about this. How do we connect with people?
Can anyone hear me? Sorry.
Yes,
Hey.
we can hear you. Hello.
Thanks, Mickey. I really liked your last point, by the way, about the harder work and pulling them into it. I guess it was more a comment. I'm sure others have had on and off conversations with Inspiral folks, as they're pretty inspiring. But just having recently had the book pushed on me by someone who I was maybe asking too many questions to. I guess they started as a freelancer network, and they actually moved away from it because it was they kept having someone who was doing all the labor of the inside, the administration, and then that person would kind of step away. Basically, they couldn't get, as a freelancer network, it was hard for people to have ownership, and they kind of morphed a few times. But in the end, they
I
kind of
just lost audio for you, PatCon.
Oh.
Can everyone else hear?
I can still hear.
I can hear okay.
Okay. Sorry. I guess to be quick.
Yeah, I lost the audio in the mid-sentence.
Oh. Sure.
Can anyone else hear PatCon?
yes, I'm hearing.
Yes.
Yes, I hear.
Just to. So, yeah. Sorry, Mickey. I guess you can't hear. But yeah, in the end, they just morphed into. This is where livelihood pods came from. So. They morphed into little groups of companies and centralized
No, I'm
services.
sorry, I cannot hear. And it's frozen.
Sorry. Anyway, I'm done.
I was hearing you.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine, and it cuts out Mickey. That's unfortunate for that. So you're saying that there's
Sorry,
a
one more thing.
freelance network
One
that
more
you.
thing.
Good.
Sorry, I had a delay.
No, I was just asking his question about the freelancing network.
Answer, PatCon.
Is that still going on, or is they actually having that, dissolving that, or is just relating issues during it?
The larger network still exists. Inspiral is a very vibrant thing with many products and what they call livelihood pods, which are, some of them are cooperatives, some of them are social enterprises. It's a loose network. It's like a non-profit foundation that has a bunch of things under it. And it's mainly that they share communication spaces and opportunities. But that's Inspiral. They've recently released a book called Better Work Together that I haven't yet read, but it's supposed to be very, very good. It's like the first time they've really talked about their formation processes and the way they've evolved. They went through having co-working spaces. They now don't have those. Anyhow, yeah, maybe it's a reading club sort of thing.
But that's not a bad idea. I encourage everyone here to start other chats and show and tell type things where maybe one might be a reading group or a movie
Thank you, everybody. I've got to go now. Appreciate it. It's a great presentation.
Great. So I'd like to thank everyone for coming.
Thank you.
And see you next week. Anyone who has any topic they'd like to cover, just let me know. I will see what I can do about posting the video as soon as possible.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mickey. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.